I have here a piece of two-tone wood. It seems, well, sapwood is soft. The hardwood is equally soft. A few bug holes in the sapwood. But if I can keep the sapwood on here, it might make an interesting rim of the bowl. So, I want this to be the bottom. I don't mount blanks on a worm screw at high speed the way the pros do. I do it at low speed and stop the motor as soon as it's almost tight and finish tightening by hand. Start with a 5/8 bowl gouge right after I sharpen it. Now, most of us right-handed folks would approach this like this, throwing all the chips right up against our chest and face. The Australian turner Kerry Corning advises doing this left-handed. From here, so your left hand holds the handle close to your body, the right hand guides it across, throws the chips way over there. But I don't want chips way over here. I want them to drop as close to the lathe as possible. This is not a dedicated lathe room. So I will keep doing it the old-fashioned way. I'm wearing a chip-proof jacket and an air shield, so I don't care if the chips hit me anyway. I have 2-inch jaws on this. It's not a broad base of support, so I will bring up the tailstock to rough this down. Oh, and I keep picking through a tin can of the used sandpaper. I made a box yesterday so I don't have to look at all the numbers and feel through them every damn time. I just know where I put them. Turn the fan on low. 1100. Trying to decide on what shape I want. The dry wood does not cut cleanly, even with a freshly sharpened gouge. The shape begins to form in my mind, and I transfer it to the bowl. I can't seem to prevent tear out in this soft wood. I want the tenon to be the foot, so diameters are limited to a few hard numbers. I use my mortise and tenon gauge to see what my options are. The largest perfect circle I have is 126 millimeters for my 5-inch jaws in my Vicmark 120. If I screw up and cut it too small, the next one down is 85 millimeters. I'll begin with a 3/8 inch bowl gouge. And finish the dovetail with the detail spindle gouge. And round over the corner. I need to cut the bottom deep enough to get rid of that hole left by the life center. I should have trued up the bottom before I cut the foot, but the bottom was spinning so true, I didn't think of it. Now, the moment of truth. Too small, damn it. I have two choices. I could make the foot smaller to fit the next size jaws down, or scrape this foot off and make a new one slightly larger. Should be 126 to perfect circle, 123 closed, just a hair under 123. So, take this one off. I'm doing another one just a little outside that. We'll try this again. One thing I don't like about Big Mark is the key is a straight shaft. You got no wobble unless you cut a ball into the end of it. And then you get a little wobble if you need it. Spins true. I'm happy. I begin sanding in reverse. 500. 120 grit. From 320 sandpaper, I jumped straight to 600 grit fabric mesh, very flexible, and it doesn't gum up. Why 600? Well, that's what I happen to have, an end of a roll of that I picked up at an estate sale. I'd never used mesh before. I kind of like it. It's probably expensive, but I'll look into it anyway. A little bit of circular marks here. Going to speed down some. Get it again. Vacuum cleaner's running, so I try to shut off. Now, what to do. You don't need rubbing compound like abrasive paste or something. There's this Dr. Kirk's, I've used a couple of times. It's a polishing wax. Can be the finish. Another thing, this after sanding this tenon right at 2 millimeters. I'm usually closer to 3, but this, I think, with a great big chuck, perfect circle, should be enough to hold it. If I'm wrong, the video will get exciting here in a little while. I think this is a little like that's abrasive paste. It is an abrasive. It's also a finish, a wax finish, if I understand it all correctly. Always a question mark there. It doesn't say that it has to be heated to work. Probably doesn't hurt, and it is getting hot. It's 650. Here you can see there's a little bit of a red slurry from this wood. Cedar, I think, maybe? Doesn't have the classic red cedar smell. Maybe there's enough dust in my nose that I can't smell anything. Doesn't have quite as much shine as Axe does, so we'll put Axe on top of that. Don't need to have that fan on right now, do I? I really should put a timer on that fan so it'll shut off automatically after 5 minutes. $900. You see it melting. Feel the heat through 4 layers of cloth. It's added luster to the dark grain, but not so much to the light. Trace the chatoyance right through here and through here. I wipe off any excess wax at low speed so I don't melt it off the wood. I keep a toothbrush handy to scrub wax out of wormholes. I installed a guard over the spindle lock button so I don't press it accidentally instead of the off button. Yeah, it's happened. Big Mark 120. Doesn't have to be screaming tight. A true spin. Instead of messing around with tape or marks or rubber bands to mark the depth, I just hold my thumb there. Now, did it slip? Did not. That faint high-pitched whine in the background is the pump in my Trend air shield. Picture's shaking because the air shield is bumping the camera and I'm not aware of it. All speed ups in my videos are 8x unless I say otherwise. I switch from scraper to gouge to get a smoother finish and to better follow the contour of the wall. I switch to a shorter rest that will fit inside the bowl and give me tool support closer to the bottom. Almost there. Poor man's compressed air. The edges of the rim are sharp enough to cut. I'll use a round scraper to contour the corner. I switched to a smaller scraper with a tighter radius to get into that corner. Getting close, but it still needs a little more work. Back to the larger scraper. At last, it's ready for sanding. I trimmed down the 2-inch soft pad to about 1 3/4 so the edges of the sandpaper float through the curves without digging in. There are 1 or 2 rough spots that I'll sand smooth by hand. Okay, same thing. Dr. Kirk's. Wood really soaks it up. Probably would have been smart to use sanding cedar first, if I had any sanding cedar. Or shellac, anything cheap to soak into the wood. $4.50. $600. Almost. A clean paper towel lets me know if I missed any of the excess. Some kind of cedar, but that's all I know. And it's red has turned black. I don't know why. But that was fun.